Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, good night, wherever you are. This is Tyson with Grimm's Closet. Welcome back to the channel, and this is going to be my very first deck tech. This is something I've been wanting to do for a while, so feedback is welcome. Today, we're going to be looking at Norman Osborn, the Green Goblin. So let's go ahead and we're going to jump in. So just going over, this is kind of a theme deck, so this will be only using cards from Marvel. This will include Secret Lairs, and this is something that I will be upgrading as we get new cards featuring Marvel characters. Right now, the mana base is kind of janky, so you have to do what you have to do. So just a summary right here. This deck is made with 100% Marvel cards and will be upgraded as Marvel sets cards are released. Green Goblin has two, I think, pretty viable sides that both do very different things. So Norman Osborn, he can't be blocked. When Norman Osborn deals combat damage to a player, he connives. So this is a discard mechanic where you will draw a card and then discard a card. If you discarded a non-land card, put a 1/1 counter onto that creature. So if you just are constantly attacking with Norman Osborn, discarding cards, eventually you can have a pretty big blocker. And the way that this card works is when you transform him, he's the same creature. So if you are attacking 2 or 3 turns before you flip him, he will keep those counters on him when he flips. And so when we flip him over, we have the blue, black, and green, and a 1 for a Flying Menace 3/3, where spells you cast from your graveyard cost 2 or less to cast. He also has the ability Goblin Formula. Each non-land card in your graveyard has Mayhem, which is its own ability, which means that the Mayhem cost is equal to its mana cost. So if you discard a card from your hand, you can play that card from the graveyard for its mana cost, but cards from your graveyard cost 2 less. So there's a lot of artifacts, different things like that you can be playing for free. I think it's a pretty cool mechanic. This deck is obviously Marvel only, so it's not completely optimized. In the sideboard as well as in the considering board at the very bottom, there are some options down here for other cards that are Marvel related. There are also some other cards that I thought would be good includes. So I included those below. I did make a lot of tags in here, kind of following the Command Zone's recent kind of deck building templates. And so right here, if you click this group and hit types and tags, you can kind of see the different things we have here. So here's like our card advantage spells. These are going to be cards that are going to be helping you draw cards. Here's your connive spell. So there's not a lot of connive specific cards, but you'll just be discarding a lot anyway. Here's your cards that are just generating counters. Obviously connive also is going to be generating counters. Here's cards that are enabling your discard. Here are cards that are letting you duplicate. It's not really its own Command Zone thing, but there was enough in here that I thought it was a fun little subtype. Here's some evasion for you, some protection. Kind of finishes as finishers. So we have your finishers right here. Just included a Lord. And then here's your kind of your mana fixing, just with the mana fixing that is in here. Mass Disruption, here's your spells that are going to be that they have the option to deal with multiple things at once. Here's all of your cards that have Mayhem. Specifically, obviously, Norman Osborn gives Green Goblin gives everything Mayhem, but these ones have Mayhem on their own. These are just cards that are just kind of part of the game plan. Some more protection. Here's our ramp. And here's recursion, targeted disruption. And so hopefully you find this helpful as you go through and just seeing like how, when you're building your deck, making sure you have what you need. So getting back into this, we'll go ahead and we'll look at the creatures. Going back and getting into this, we'll go ahead and look at the creatures that are in the deck. Let's go through each of the different kind of categories. And also I will show a couple other things that I've worked on here. So first creature over here, we have the Flying Octobot. Whenever another villain you control enters, put a 1/1 counter on this creature. This ability triggers only once each turn. There's quite a few villains in the deck because this is mostly based around mostly villains. There's a few that are non-villains in here. But this will have some good synergy. If you get going, obviously, magic cards do magic things. Um, Hobgoblin, Mantled Marauder. He's a red and a 1 for flying haste. Whenever you discard a card, Hobgoblin gets +2/+0 until end of turn. So if you're conniving, he's just going to passively be getting bigger and bigger and bigger. For that turn, obviously those go away, but it's just an additive bonus that's going to be included. If he was a card that you discarded with while Green Goblin's on the board because he costs 2 less, he would cost 1. You can take some big advantage with and playing a lot of stuff for really cheap with the Green Goblin. Next, we have Moreland, Devourer of Spiders. For Vampire Villain, he's a 2/1 with lifelink. He's 2 and a black and X. So Moreland enters with X, 1/1 counters on him. When Moreland enters, he deals X damage to target opponent. So, obviously, you can do different things at different phases of the game. Get a little bit of life back. He can obviously nuke your opponent if you have a lot of mana out. Next up, we have Agent Venom for 1 black and 2 for a symbiote soldier hero. He's not a villain, of course, so he doesn't fit into some of that synergy there. But Flash Menace: whenever another non-token creature you control dies, you draw a card and lose 1 life. So this is just some card draw in here. His name is Flash Thompson, so that's where you get the Flash. But if you play him in your opponent's end step, then you have a 2/3 coming out. You just have some options there to draw some cards. This is Doc Ock's Henchman. I think this is a great card to get out early if possible. He's 1 blue and 2 with Flash. Whenever this creature attacks, it connives. That's that ability where you draw a card, then discard a card. And so if you draw a card, you discard a card to connive. Let's say you discard Agent Venom while Green Goblin's out. Agent Venom now costs 1 black to play from your graveyard. So pretty cool. The couple times I've played the deck, it's been pretty fun. Next up, we have Electro, Assaulting Battery for 2 red and a 1. With flying, you don't lose unspent red mana as steps and phases end. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, add 1 red. When Electro leaves the battlefield, you may pay X. When you do, he deals X damage to target player. So there's not a lot of ramp in this deck yet, just because of the nature of making it Marvel only. And so this is a card that you can generate some red mana. You get to keep it. If somebody kills him, targets him with something, you can pay his ability there, use all that red mana, and nuke something. So right before it becomes your turn, you just go in and you tap all your red mana if you didn't use it during your turn. Next, we have a Game Changer in here. So there is a few. This is just from the Spider-Man bonus sheet. This is Opposition Agent for 1 black and 2. Also has Flash. This is also the same character as Agent Venom. But you control your opponents while they're searching the libraries. While an opponent is searching their library, they exile each card you find. You may play those cards as long as they remain exiled, and you may spend mana as though it were any mana or any mana of any color to cast them. So the intention here is obviously stealing your opponent's lands, really in this deck, just because of the land base and the ramp. But you can steal things like if they're searching for a soul ring or some artifact, you get to steal it and you can still have it for yourself. Next we have Prowler, Clawed Thief, Menace. It's 2/3 black blue Dimir colors with a 1. Whenever another villain you control enters, Prowler connives. So you play another villain, connives. Shriek, Troublemaker, red or black, and 2. For a mutant villain, the 2/3. At the beginning of your first main phase, you may discard a card. When you do, target creature can't block this turn. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, Shriek deals 1 damage to that player. This is something that I really like because when you're on the Norman Osborn side over here, he kind of generates his own card draw or discard so you can connive, but the Green Goblin doesn't do this. And so this lets you be more proactive on what you're discarding and makes it more consistent. So you can discard every turn when Shriek's on the board. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, Shriek deals 1 damage to each player. Spider-Gwen, Free Spirit, Reach. He's a 2/3. Whenever Spider-Gwen becomes tapped, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. So this is just some card draw. This is some discard. You discard a card you're going to play while Green Goblin's out. You draw a card. So you get some card advantage there. Tombstone for a criminal, black and 2. He's a 2/2 human villain. When Tombstone enters, return target villain card from your graveyard to your hand. Villain spells you cast cost 1 less to play. So just some synergy, some ways to keep that cost down. Going on, we have the ultimate Green Goblin for 2 black or red, and then a 1. At the beginning of your upkeep, discard a card, then create a treasure token. So a little bit of ramp here, going with your treasures and guaranteed card discarding. So he also has Mayhem. So if you discard him, even if something else is not on the board, let's say it's the Norman Osborn side, you just start discarding. He then will have a Mayhem cost, which is pretty good. You can get him out, pretty early. It's a nice way to, when your opponent's like, hey, discard a card, you're like, cool, I will discard this guy on your turn. So next up, we have a Carnage, Crimson Chaos for 1 black and a red. Sorry, for black and a red and 2. He's a legendary creature, symbiote villain for 4/3 with trample. When Carnage enters, return target creature with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains this creature attacks each combat if able, and when this creature deals combat damage to a player, sacrifice it. He has a Mayhem cost of 2, so he has a black and a red, so you can get him out pretty early. It's a good creature to have out, and with a little bit of recursion, returning cards to your hand. Next we have the Chameleon, Master of Chaos, 1 blue and 3. You may have Chameleon enter as a copy of a creature you control, except his name is Chameleon, Master of Chaos, and he has a Mayhem cost of 1 blue and 2. Yeah, just a little ways to double up on effects there. Next we have Deadpool trading card, black and a red and 2. Great card. I haven't played with mine yet, so I'm excited to actually use him in a deck. But we have he's 5/3. Mutant Mercenary Hero. As Deadpool enters, you may exchange his text box and another creature's. At the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 3 life. So you target your opponent's card, you steal their text box, they get this text box, and so they lose 3 life every single turn unless they pay 3 to sacrifice it. So then everybody else gets to draw a card. So it's fun. It's a little shenanigans, a little chaos. Here we have the Green Goblin Nemesis. This was in the Scene Pack cards. He's 1 black and red and 2 for a 3/3 Goblin human villain with flying. Whenever you discard a non-land card, put a 1/1 counter on target Goblin you control. Whenever you discard a land card, create a tapped treasure token. So there's only a few goblins in this deck. There's the Green Goblin. There's a Green Goblin Revenant. Or there was Green Goblin Revenant at one point of this build. And then there is, well, here he is. And then we have the Commander as well. So just a few. Hobgoblin as well. So there's 4 goblins. Most of the time, you're probably just going to target himself or the Commander. Next up, we have Lila, Holographic Assistant. I think this is a pretty decent card. It's blue and 3. This came, I believe, in one of the Spider-Man starter decks. But whenever you draw a card, put a 1/1 counter on target creature. So this deck, you're wanting to draw cards and discard. That's what you're wanting to do constantly. Plus, every single turn, you're drawing cards. Commander, it's pretty common, at least in my play group, for people to be playing cards where everybody draws a card, or you can draw cards, but then they get this big advantage. So it gives you a little bit more advantage when you're doing things like that. Then we have the Mysterio, Master of Illusion. When Mysterio enters, create a 3/3 blue illusion villain creature token for each non-token villain you control. So you get a lot of 3/3s as long as he remains on the board, and this can really make your board go wide. Obviously, this card will then become a target, but it's fun. I like the way that it's implemented, and it's a ton of flavor. Scorpion, Seething Striker is a black and 3. He's a 3/3 with Death Touch, Scorpion, human villain. It's kind of funny that a lot of these characters are actually getting he's a scorpion, but Dr. Octopus is not an octopus. But Death Touch at the beginning of your end step, if a creature died this turn, target creature you control connives. So just another way to discard right there. I have Superior Spider-Man. He's a blue and a black and 2. A Spider Human Hero is a 4/4. With the ability Mind Swap, you may have Superior Spider-Man enter as a copy of any creature card in a graveyard, except his name is Superior Spider-Man, and he's a 4/4 human hero in addition to his other types. When you do this, exile that card. So, really cool effect. I mean, there's so many times we play this game and you have a card that you want to play and it's in your graveyard really early. So it's a good way to steal other people's stuff or something that you're wanting to play later. Here we have Black Cat. I really wish she wasn't a black card. I think a different color maybe would fit her better, but just want to include her because she's fun, and this might be a card that we cut in the future once we have more Marvel cards. But 2 black and a 3 for a human rogue villain. She's a 2/3. When Black Cat enters, look at the top 9 cards of target opponent's library. So like 9 lives is kind of the reference there. Exile 2 of them face down, then put the rest of them on the bottom of the library in a random order. You may play the exiled cards for as long as they remain exiled. Mana of any type can be used to cast spells this way. It's a little theft. She fits in. She's a villain. We'll throw her in there. Sometimes she's a hero too. So next up we have Doc Ock, Sinister Scientist. He's 1 blue and a 4. For a 4/5 human scientist villain, as long as there are 8 or more cards in your graveyard, Doc Ock has a base power and toughness of 8/8. As long as you control another villain, Doc Ock has hexproof. So again, this is just you're constantly drawing and discarding cards, so you want cards in your graveyard, and so or you're going to end up with cards in your graveyard quickly, and so he's going to be something that you'll soon have an 8/8. We have a black and a red for 3 for the Green Goblin Revenant. This is Harry Oz. The version of Green Goblin is Harry Osborn. He's a 3/3 with Flying Death Touch. Whenever Green Goblin attacks, discard a card, then draw a card for each card you've discarded this turn. So this can be pretty additive when you have a lot of other things that are making you discard, and it can refill your hand. Next we have Gwenum, Remorseless, 2 black and a 3. She's basically Bolas' Citadel. For 4/4 Death Touch Light Link, whenever Gwenum attacks until the end of turn, you may look at the top card of your library anytime, and you may play cards from the top of your library. If you cast a spell this way, pay life equal to its mana value rather than pay its mana cost. So the trick here is you want to get in and you want to hit with lifelink. So she has Death Touch, so it makes it so that she's a little bit your opponent might be a little bit less likely to block her. You gain your life, and then if you look at the top card, if it's 4 or less, you're basically going to be breaking even once you're dealing damage. But again, that is something that as long as she attacks, you get to do that. You don't have to do the damage or anything like that, but she will have to remain alive. Next we have the Raging Goblinoids with 1 red and a 4 for a Goblin Berserker villain. He's a 5/4 with haste and mayhem. So he can cost 1 less. So if you discard him early, you pay 1, and he's back on the board if you have the Green Goblin out. This is a good card that you probably wouldn't. If you can get on the board early, you can be hitting for 5/4. You can get him out on turn pretty early in the game. Next we have Venom, Eddie Brock, 2 black and a 4. This one is also from the starter deck packs. He's a 6/4 symbiote villain with menace. Whenever another creature dies, put a 1/1 counter on Venom. If that creature was a villain, draw a card. So lots of villains in here. Some card draw as well, and he just can get really big. He's Venom. He's cool. Next up, we have the Vulture, Scheming Scavenger. He's 1 blue or black and 5 with a 4/6 Human Artificer villain for flying. Whenever Vulture attacks, other villains you control gain flying until end of turn. There's a lot of villains in here, of course, and so if you attack with him a couple times with the board of villains, you're going to be you can be winning this game. Dr. Octopus Master Planner, very expensive. He's a blue and a black and 5. Human Scientist villain, 4/8. He's a lord, so other villains you control get +2/+2. Your maximum hand size is 8. At the beginning of your end step, if you have fewer than 8 cards in hand, draw cards equal to the difference. If he comes in at the end of the game, he's going to be replenishing that hand, making sure that you have actions and things to do. Next, we're getting into our sorceries. First, we have Reanimate. This is from the bonus sheet. Just some recursion, never bad to have. Next, we have Vandal Blast. This is a secret lair. Destroy target artifacts you control, but it also has Overlord for 1 red and 4. Destroy all artifacts. So there's not a whole lot of artifacts in this deck, but sometimes you just need to destroy a lot of things. Grasping Tentacles. This is a blue and a black and 1. This is from the Scene Pack as well. It's sorcery. Target opponent mills 8 cards. You put an artifact card from that player's graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. There's, like I had mentioned earlier, there's not a whole lot of ramp yet. This is a good way to steal an artifact. If you or somebody else destroys somebody's Soul Ring, you can go in and steal that Soul Ring, mill their deck, and then put an artifact from their graveyard. It doesn't have to be one of the ones milled. Next we have another Game Changer. This is also intentioned for some ramp, but it's 1 red and 2. This is from the Storm Secret Lair, so we have Storm there in the art. Choose one. If you control a commander, as you cast a spell, you may cast both. You may do both instead. Add 1 red for each card in target opponent's hand, or exile the top 3 cards of your library. You may play them this turn. So if you can do both, or even if you have Electro out on the board, you can be getting a lot of mana that just doesn't go away. Next, we have a board wipe. We have 2 black and a 2 for Damnation. This is Mark Bagley from the Mark Bagley art from the Venom Secret Lair. Destroy all creatures, they can't be regenerated. Another bonus sheet card. We have a Relentless Assault for 2 red and 2. Untap all creatures that attack this turn. After this main phase, there is an additional combat phase followed by an additional main phase. So, yeah, I mean, what enough said, as Stanley would say. This is a finisher. Next, we have a 2 black and 4 for a sorcery. Destroy 6 target creatures. This is mass disruption right here. This card is flavorful because it's Sinister 6, and it's also the cover of the very first video game that I ever bought as a child. This was the Revenge of the Sinister 6 with art by Eric Larson. I think on the video game version there was like Spider-Man's face is kind of showing as a reflection. Then we have the Behold the Sinister 6, 1 black and 6. Basically, it's a Rise of the Dark Realms in a way, but return up to 6 target creature cards with different names from your graveyard to the battlefield. A great way to replenish the board after board wipe. Then we have Blasphemous Act, 1 red and 8. He costs 1 less for each card, for each creature on the battlefield. So a lot of times he's going to cost 1 red, and deals 13 damage to each creature. So another board wipe. This is from the Spider-Man Secret Lair with the newsprints. And next we have our instants. We have Counterspell with this great Steve Ditko art. The little Doc Ock giving Spidey a backhand. So it's a counterspell. 2 blue, counter target spell. Another card from the Secret Lair, 1 black and 1 for Go for the Throat, destroy target non-artifact creature. Next up we have Spider Sense. It's a blue and a 1. It's an instant where a web slinging of 1. The web slinging lets you target a tapped creature that you control and return it to your hand to have basically just a cheaper spell cost. That's a good way to play something and get a enter the battlefield effect multiple times. You can counter target instant, spell, sorcery, spell, or triggered ability. Next we have a black and a red for Terminate. This is the art from Spider-Man. I don't remember the issue number, but this is the first appearance of Carnage. Destroy target creature, can't be regenerated. Then we have Thrill of Possibility, 1 red and a 1. This is from the bonus sheet. As an additional cost to cast the spell, discard a card, draw 2 cards. So we can see these are playing right into your game plan of conniving, of discarding cards and playing those from your graveyard. Then we have Unstable Experiment. This is 1 blue and a 1. Target player draws a card, then up to 1 target creature you control connives. Having that little upside there, it's very thematic. Next we have Frantic Search, 1 blue and 2. Draw 2 cards and discard 2 cards and untap up to 3 lands. So it's pretty similar to a Thrill of Possibility, but we're drawing 2 and then discarding 2, but untapping those lands as well as being able to play them from cards from your graveyard is really where you're wanting to be with this card. Then we have Deadly Relic from the Deadpool Secret Lair. It's black and 3. If you control your commander, you may cast this spell without paying its mana cost. Exile target creature. Next up we have Unexpected Windfall. It's for 2 red and 2. I believe this is the first appearance of Mary Jane. She kind of just, I think she's been hinted at for quite a while, and then she shows up and she says, "Hey, you hit the jackpot." But it's an instant with a. Sorry, this is kind of hard to read just with the way that these cards are made, but instant as an additional cost to cast this spell, discard a card, draw 2 cards, and then create 2 treasure tokens. A little bit of ramp, little card draw. Then we have Savage Beating. It's 2 red and 3. Cast a spell only during your turn and only during combat. Choose 1 creatures you control, gain double strike until end of turn, and untop all creatures you control. After this phase, there's an additional combat phase. So a little bit of a finisher. Some of these cards are really hard to read just with the way that these bonus sheet cards were made, but I have to have a card with Todd McFarlane on the art. Can't pass it up. Here we have our artifacts, lots of counters from conniving, and so or from the first side with Norman, where you're just swinging in and attacking, and which also conniving. But this is just a little way to make sure you get to keep those 1/1 counters. But this is an Adamantium Bonding Tank, which is the Ozolith. It costs 1. If this is a card you discard while Green Goblin is your commander, you can play this for free from your graveyard. So it's a very cool card, but whenever a creature you control leaves the battlefield, if it had counters on it, put those counters on Adamantium Bonding Tank at the beginning of combat on your turn. If Adamantium Bonding Tank has counters on it, you may move all the counters from it onto target creature. So this could just really swing the game if you can get this thing going. I love the card, and we got a little Wolverine there in the Weapon X chamber while he's getting turned into Wolverine. Then we have Commander's Plate. He's 1. Also, you can cast it for free if you Green Goblins on the board and you discarded it. Equipped creature gets +3/+3 and has protection from each color that's not in your commander's color identity. Equipped commander costs 3 and equip someone else is 5. Yeah, just a great little card. Also, it's kind of thematic because after the Secret Invasion storyline in the comics, Norman Osborn became the Iron Patriot, and so I believe it was Iron Patriot, but he's basically Iron Man with a red, white, and blue color scheme. But this would give you protection from white and green, so there's lots of removal in white, so it's just a little helpful to have there. Then we have the Soul Ring. This is from the Villain's Secret Lair. We have Arcane Signet with his Earth's Mightiest Emblem. This is one of the bonus cards from the Marvel Secret Lair from a couple years ago. Then we have Lightning Greaves from the Villain's Secret Lair 2. Creature has haste and shroud. Pumpkin Bomb. This one's kind of fun, a little thematic, a little bit of chaos, but it's 1 red and 1. When you tap it, discard 2 cards. So this gives you a discard outlet. Then you get to draw 3 cards. Then put a fuse counter on this artifact. It deals damage to the number of fuse counters on it to target opponent. They gain control of this card. So it's a little bit of a hot potato. It's very likely it could be a game where just you use it once and then nobody ever uses it again. But if this is used a lot, this could just be a fun little thing to pass around. Then we have the Soul Stone, black and 1. It's the Infinity Stone. It's indestructible. Tap for 1 black. It has the ability exile creature you control. Harness the Soul Stone that costs 1 black and 6. At the beginning of your upkeep, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It's the most expensive card from the Spider-Man set, and really one of the only ones that's really holding value right now. Now we have our ramp. It's the hot dog card for 3. Artifact costs 3. When it enters, create a food token, and then you can add 1 mana of any color. So not a great card. This will be a target for removing from the deck once there's some more Marvel ramp, but we're just playing with what we have at the moment. Then we have the rocket-powered Goblin Glider. It costs 3. When this equipment enters, if it was cast from your graveyard, attach it to target creature you control. Equipped creature gets +2/+0 and has flying and haste. So you discard this card while Green Goblin's out. It costs 1 to put it out, and then it will just automatically equip. So it's pretty cool. Or if its mayhem cost is actually 2. So if you discard it, it's actually free to play if Green Goblin's out. So it's even a little better for this deck than I had actually thought on first glance. So next we have Sculpting Steel. This is the bonus card from the Iron Man Secret Lair. You can have this card enter as a copy of any artifact on the battlefield. This is obviously very situational, but just with the lack of some of the options, this is going to be something that if I have it early, I'm going to be targeting things like, obviously something that's going to be impactful, or something that you're going to see a lot of, like your opponent's Soul Ring. Then we have the Shield of War and Peace, mostly included because it's a Sword of War and Peace. It's just the swords are great cards. But it's also a reference to Norman Osborn being the Iron Patriot. When equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has protection from red and white. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, this equipment deals damage to that player equal to the number of cards in their hand, and you gain 1 life for each card in your hand. So it's just, you have it out on the board and it does things. It's a great card. Enchantments, we don't have a whole lot of them, but we have Alien Symbiosis. It's a 1 black and 1. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and has menace and is a symbiote in addition to its other types. You may cast this card from your graveyard by discarding a card in addition to paying its other costs. So this enchantment has recursion, and you can play it from your graveyard. So with Norman out, or with the Green Goblin out, it costs one less to one less to cast. With Norman out, it costs one less to play, plus you're discarding, so you're feeding into that loop. Then we have the Shadow of the Goblin, 1 red and 1 for with the Unreliable Visions. This is Harry Osborn in the art and not Norman. But at the beginning of your first main phase, discard a card. If you do, draw a card. So it creates the discard outlet for you, as well as new cards to replace it with. Whenever you play a land or cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, this enchantment deals 1 damage to each opponent. There's only one land you'll be doing this with, and I'll show that in the land section, but you'll have a lot of other things you can be doing. And then we have the Death of Gwen Stacy, 1 black and 2. It's a saga. First turn, destroy target creature. Next turn, each player may discard a card. Each player who doesn't loses 3. And last one is exile any number of target players' graveyards. So some graveyard hate, you can avoid doing it to yourself, and a little discard outlet. Then we have Maximum Carnage, which is, I think, kind of fun in Commander. It's 1 red and 4. Also, shout out to these art by Bill Sienkiewicz. I just love his art. He's one of my favorite comic artists. Yeah, so first turn we have until next turn, each creature attacks each combat if able, and attacks a player other than you if able. And so if you play this during your second main phase, you do not have to attack, and you can cause the chaos with everybody else. Next turn you get 3 mana. Electro's on the board. You can save this for later. It's also just 3 red mana. You can use this for playing things from your graveyard. Next we have this saga deals 5 damage to each opponent. So it's 15 damage if everybody's out still. Just a solid, seems like a solid card in Commander. Then we have the meme. I hate the framing on it. It should have just been zoomed out a little bit more, but Imposter Syndrome is 2 blue and 4. Whenever a non-token creature you control deals combat to a player, create a token that's a copy of it, except it isn't legendary. This is just a game that this is just going to end the game if this is out and you have creatures on the board and you're doing things. Next we have our land base. Like I mentioned before, not a whole lot of land options, but we have what we're going to include what we have. This is Command Tower. This is from the Villain Secret Lair. Then I have 8 islands. You can obviously do a few different islands here. You can make it blinged out and get the Venom ones. I just did the web versions here. I would have done the other Spider-Man ones if I just don't like the border on a lot of lands. But these are cool cards. Then we have a Multiversal Passage. It's kind of like a shock. I mean, it is a shock land, but it won't be a dual land once it's out. But as the land enters, choose a basic land type. If you pay 2 life, if you don't, it enters tapped. This land is the chosen type. So you got to put it out. If you need a swamp, you can have it be a swamp. You can have it be whatever you need. So I think this is a good card that I'm going to be putting in a lot of decks myself. Next up is Oscorp Industries. This is the one card you can be playing from your graveyard because it has Mayhem. So if you have to discard, you can discard this and still play it on your turn. But this land enters tapped. When this land enters from a graveyard, you'll lose 2 life. So yeah, it's a little fun flavor right there. Then we have a few just tap lands. These are just from the Spider-Man set. We have a Sinister Hideout, which enters tapped. It's a blue and a black. Does have another ability we can pay for in Survey 1. We have 12 Swamps, Vibrant Cityscape. This is your Evolving Wilds. Sacrifice a land, search your library for a basic land card, put on the battlefield, tapped, and then shuffle. Then we have the Daily Bugle Building. Comes in, it does tap for colorless, or you can pay 1 and tap it, and you can get a mana of any color. You also have Smear Campaign, we pay 1 and tap target legendary creature against menace until end of turn, activates only as a sorcery. So give yourself a little bit of evasion. Have a few different options, which is kind of fun. And then our last land is the Ominous Asylum. This enters tapped. It's a black or red, pay for survey, so similar to the Sinister Hideout. So yeah, this will be something that just as we get more things, there will be some upgrades, cuts, and things like that, which I will maintain in the future. Here's some cards that were some of the last ones that I cut, flavor-wise, or just because obviously you can only have 100 cards. But Fatal Push, it has Green Goblin on the art. It just wasn't one that made the cut for me. But I can see you wanting to go even more flavorful and just including it. Doc Ock's Tentacles. Whenever this creature you control with a mana value 5 or greater enters, you can attach it. You get a 4. It's 4/4. We have Height on the Ceiling. This card is something I might even move into the deck. But we have exile X artifacts, and our creatures return the exile cards to the battlefield under their owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. So it's a nice way to protect your things. Pumpkin Bombardment. It just wasn't doing enough for me. As an additional cost to cast this spell, discard a card or pay 2. It's kind of an expensive lightning bolt. And so obviously you can discard there, and it's more flavorful. So I could see making the case for putting it in for more flavor. I just elected not to at this point. Next we have Goblin Bombardment. Same thing with the flavor. Sacrifice a creature. This enchantment deals 1 damage to any target. This is not a secret creature sacrifice deck. This is a non-Marvel card, which would be good in the deck. Blue and black. It's the Psychic Frog. Whenever Psychic Frog deals combat damage to a player, Planeswalker, draw a card, discard a card, put a 1/1 counter on Psychic Frog. Exile 3 cards from your graveyard. Psychic Frog gains flying until end of turn. Just going to be a good card for this deck. Then we have Romantic Rendezvous. It's essentially a throw of possibility. Discard a card, draw 2 cards. Spider-Man 2099, 1 blue and 1 red for 2/3. From the future, you can't cast him on your first, second, or third turns of the game. He has double strike and vigilance. At the beginning of your end step, if you've played a land or cast a spell this turn from anywhere other than your hand, Spider-Man 2099 deals damage equal to his power to any target. Just since we're going to be playing cards from your graveyard, this is something that could be thrown in. Yeah. Next we have Whoosh, 1 blue and 1, with kicker of 1 blue and 1. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand if the spell was kicked. Draw a card. Sandman's Quicksand, 2 black and a 1. He has a mayhem cost, is a little bit more, but all creatures get -2/-2 until end of turn. If you play the mayhem cost, creatures your opponent control get -2/-2 until end of turn. Saw and a half, 1 black and 2, destroy target creature. If that creature dies this way, its controller creates 2 tokens that are copies of the creature, except their power is half that creature's power and their toughness is half that creature's toughness, round up each time. Inner Demons is just a menace creature. He has a discard a card. He gets a +1/+0 until end of turn. He's black and 3. Lethal Protector, 1 black and 3. Destroy target creature. Return up to 1 target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Venom's Hunger. This spell costs 2 less to cast if you control a villain. So you can be playing this for pretty cheap. Destroy target creature, you gain 2 life. And then Villainous Wrath. 2 black and a 3. Target opponent loses life equal to the number of creatures they control. Destroy all creatures. And one other card, which I had meant to have over here in the sideboard, as just ones that I'm more likely to add in, is Prison Break. It's 1 black and 4. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield with an additional 1/1 counter on it. And it also has a mayhem cost of black and 3. So the great way to just have some good recursion. I think this is a good recursive spell. Thanks for watching. This was fun to put together. I hope that you guys enjoy this Norman Osborn Green Goblin Marvel-only deck. If you have any feedback or any cards that you think would be better in here, or I missed something, feel free to let me know in the comments. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and we will see you guys later.